Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to your weekly dose of newsy infotainment. It is Let's Be Treasonable, coming to you from the luxurious studios of Radio Titans in Los Angeles with your Cognitive Dissidents on the panel this week. Comedian, TV writer, meme creator extraordinaire, Mr. Josh Greenberg in the house.
Hello.
Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you. The woman that is so near and dear to our hearts and so close to our ears in these times of podcasting, Erika Schickel.
Hi.
Author, playwright, bon vivant.
Bon vivant. Yes, hello,
and a
everybody.
bon vivant to you as well. Bon vivant, everybody. And, of course, the black voice of reason, Mr. Tymon Shipp.
Power to the people. Good to be here with everyone.
Good to have you here. It is America in Crisis, day 149. And we are still surviving, although for how much longer remains to be determined.
Speak for yourself.
Especially if the healthcare plan that was unveiled sounds like it makes it sound so much better. What word do you use when you step in dog crap and you find it on the bottom of your shoe? Would that be an unveiling?
It wasn't unveiled. It stumbled drunk into the public eye.
And the police did nothing.
Right.
But the new Republican health care plan came out this week, which I guess is aptly named because it pretty much takes care of health.
Wealth care.
It is astounding. You know, we were talking before the show, and I had a thought this morning because I am a doctor, although not a medical doctor, but you get confused for one enough times. You learn enough stuff about doctors so that, when someone does mistake you for a medical professional, it isn't tragic. It's someone's having a heart attack. And so, is there a doctor? Well, that guy says he's a doctor. So you figure it's good to know first aid. But one thing that I do know about doctors, and I think pretty much anyone who's ever watched medical drama on television knows, is that the doctors take this thing called the Hippocratic Oath. And they swear, as doctors, that first they shall do no harm. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that this morning because of the large number of physicians who are currently serving in Congress, many of them Republicans, and of the 5 Republican senators who say they will not support the current health care plan, only one of them is a doctor, and honestly, that's really nominally because that doctor is Rand Paul, the self-accredited ophthalmologist.
Is that what he is? Does he have a healthy?
It's an eye doctor thing,
Okay.
but I don't know if he's an ophthalmologist, psychiatrist, psychologist, ophthalmologist, optician. The optician is just the guy who makes the glasses.
Right,
exactly. So that doesn't. But yeah, it's
I assumed Rand Paul was a doctor of hair pieces, but that's just.
He didn't take the Hippocratic Oath. He took the hypocritical oath.
Nice.
Nice.
But it really does make me wonder that if these people are physicians, is not supporting this healthcare plan a violation of their Hippocratic Oath?
It's an excellent question. I mean, I would say absolutely yes, but I don't think that I don't even think that Republican senators and congresspeople are functioning rational people at this point. I mean, not everything. I'm sorry, I can't do this podcast because I am speechless this week. I mean, there's no justification for any of this. This is doing great, real, physical, moral harm to this country. People will die because of this legislation.
And, one of the things that just as, a liberal mouthpiece that really bothers me about this is that when Obamacare, when the ACA was in the works, the Republicans, especially the nutbags over at Fox, were going apeshit over death panels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there was no factual basis in that. They took an advisory council on end-of-life decisions and turned it into a quote unquote death panel. And they screamed about it, and it became such a thing that even today on a liberal show such as this, we are still talking about death panels.
Yes.
So it bothers me that they did all that, and now that they're trying to pass legislation which will actually result in people dying.
Yes, genuine death panels.
It feels so disingenuous, like to be screaming, and that's the thing that really sucks about coming in from this standpoint, because I think it was Seth Meyers this week. They had a video juxtaposing Mitch McConnell talking about, the current health plan that he's been crafting under his desk, wherever his secret spot is.
He's hiding it in his dewlap.
It's, I would not, that would explain why it's there.
Nobody can find it because it's in
just
his neck folds.
It's full of hatred.
Yeah.
But showing, video of him complaining about Obamacare being crafted in secret and everything that he's doing currently that he bitched about, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the hypocrisy. So it makes me like hyper aware of talking about how this is going to kill people, when it actually will, whereas you start feeling like, am I turning into one of those Republican death panel screamers from years ago?
Yeah.
But you think about, if you want to talk specifics about the health care plan that they're proposing, one of the big things they want to do is they want to put a cap on Medicare.
Yeah.
And I think about, when my mom was dying of cancer years ago, if all we had to do was tell the cancer, hey, listen, we're not going to be able to pay for this anymore.
So can you ease up?
So you need to leave now.
Yeah.
Because cancer is very respectful of financial caps on medical care.
Well,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Amongst many other diseases that also
Mitch
share that
McConnell,
respect.
Mitch McConnell had the handicap. They blocked his office.
Oh, yes. And then they came and lifted them up out of their wheelchairs and put them on the meat truck. Nothing in this world is what it looks like. I feel like the whole right-wing Republican conservative agenda is so lost in this hall of mirrors of lies and doublespeak and hypocrisy. And absolutely nothing is what it seems to be. You can't even go after them about, but you were all about death panels. It doesn't matter. Like, we keep coming at this problem with our good intentions and our sound logic and our list of reasons, and it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. This is not about that.
I think Vox, that website?
Yeah, sure.
I think they did a story this week that was about the healthcare bill, and it was essentially saying we are in the era of nothing matters politics.
This is hegemony. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Previously, something like this, so vastly unpopular, all these Congress people would never be able to vote for it because they know they'd get their asses, handed to them in the next election. But Trump has made it such that it doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm always blown away that here it is. They had 7 years to come up with a plan. You hated Obamacare for all these years, and you've never. This is the best you got. Now you're in secrecy. Yeah. You don't want the one to see what you're doing. You don't want this plan. But you why can't we have health care in our society? Why is it that a person who had a previous injury or a previous health, you don't want to give them. Yeah. You don't want to give them health care.
You don't. On Pod Save America, another excellent political podcast, not as good as this one, of course. They call it "Repeal and Go Fuck Yourself." And literally, that's what it is. There is nothing in its place. There's no innovation. It's only cuts. It's only tax cuts for the wealthy, and it's less, and it's going to affect every single member of our society.
And that's why they wanted to get rid of a lot of the government jobs, because government jobs have great health care plans.
Yep.
I had a root canal done, and they moved me to the front of the line, and the woman told me, "You got great health care."
Yeah,
She told me. She said, she said, your dental plan I think I paid out of pocket $172. It was a $2,500 deal.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and that's because I work for the county. But I said, you know, you can't tell me that the only way you're going to get good health care is you got to go work in the county and work with criminals. There's got to be a better plan that you can put together to our grandparents.
You could go to Congress and work with criminals.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There's so many. Oh, that's another story because there's so many lobbyists in the. It's in Washington. There's more. I think like 1,000 to 1,500 lobbyists. It used to be probably 100, maybe.
Yeah.
Now there's thousands of them.
You know what I would like to see, and this is potentially going to phase into the next topic of bitching about Democrats, but I would love to see a Democrat in Congress who had the courage to propose a bill stating that no member of Congress shall be provided with better insurance than is available to
the
their
general that
constituents.
you've just legislated. Everybody.
Very good. That's a good
I mean,
point.
I don't
Let's
even
set
understand.
a very
point.
low. But the thing is, it's not going to come from a Republican. And as a congressperson, well, would they be voting against their best interests? Maybe. Depends on what you want to provide to the people who you're supposed to be representing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is not
Is
a
it
new
true-
idea, to have a law that, Congress has to have the same health plan as is available to America.
Is it true that this health plan is set up so that it actually doesn't go into effect until 2021?
For the most part, basically, yeah. The way this plan is set up is the reduction of services and subsidies is going to be gradual, basically until
Trump is out of office.
If he should be so blessed as to serve a full term.
Yeah.
Basically, none of this is going to happen. So,
And
yeah,
what would
they're
prevent the
doing
next guy, assuming the next guy is Elizabeth Warren or something, from flipping it back over to Obamacare?
Well, I think the amount of time and energy that would have to be spent, that the fact that as the Republicans are seeing with Obamacare, you can't. It's not just flipping a switch. It takes time.
Even though that whole plan is already in place and functioning.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's had the Republicans actually spent the last 7 years working on a replacement plan and coming up with something that didn't seem like it was pieced together with spit and baling wire in a back room in the dark where no one could see what they were doing.
Yeah.
If they had actually spent time doing their jobs, then they may have something that it would be easier to move from Obamacare to this idealized plan that Trump campaigned on, that, like everything else he campaigned on, is non-existent.
Yeah.
So should Elizabeth Warren or a reasonable liberal take over the White House in the next election, non-existent, God willing? It's they can, if they can get Congress to work with them, they can bring health care back to America, but it's going to be a long process.
Yeah,
And
I
so
understand.
that is one thing, if for whatever reasons, politics, this health care plan should pass in the Senate and become law, then the Democrats need to immediately start working on the replacement plan. Everybody, we've had a few years of Obamacare, and in a lot of ways it's been great, and in some ways it hasn't.
But this is my
it
question.
hasn't been great for
isn't
everybody.
Obamacare the replacement plan? I mean, in the end, we had a plan that is like a great base and needs improvement. So
and
let's go back
that's what
to
I'm
that.
saying is that people on the right side of this do know that there are problems with Obamacare. So for if this passes into law, Democrats need to start with Obamacare and make the improvements. Like, since we've already seen the system in action, we know the